Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo, and welcome to my scrapbook table. This is the last day of May I Scraplift You, day 31, and we are scraplifting the lovely Moira O'Reilly. And I've chosen this layout of hers to scraplift. And I will have a link to her channel and to that layout, if I can specifically find that one again, below. So I am doing some zoo pictures, and instead of plain white cardstock at the bottom, I decided, because I'm also doing mixed media mayhem with this today, and we were to use, let me see, a stencil, texture paste, and patterned paper. So I have this large chevron stencil. Unfortunately, it is not quite large enough, so I had to do this in 2 sections and let it dry in between. But that worked out okay because I wasn't feeling great the day I made this layout. So while this layer dried, I took a nap. And then I did the other side. My voice still isn't great. I'm trying to drink tea. And I have a cough drop to try to get through this voiceover without coughing. And what I wanted for the stenciling was a look that goes from a bluish green to kind of a lime green to a yellowy orange and then fades to white. And I just combined some inks. For the top color, I used Rustic Wilderness Distress Oxide that you see there, and also a drop of green ink that I just have in a bottle. I don't know what kind it is. Then below that, I used peeled paint, and my texture paste is just a white texture paste. To get the yellow, first I started with Barely Banana, but even when I use that, that's an old Stampin' Up color, and I still have a re-inker. It was actually my mom's, and my mom has been gone for 8 years now, so this is a really old re-inker, but I tried to use it. It gave me a pale yellow, but it was too pale. So I made some space on my craft mat there, and I just smushed down some yellow Distress Oxide. I forget which one this is, but it's not Squeezed Lemonade. It's one that's a little darker. And that was giving me more the color that I wanted. And each one I overlapped the colors a little bit. I wanted a little bit more of that ink there. But I overlap a little bit so that they blend together nicely. And when you do mixed media, you're not after perfection. I mean, at least I'm not, or I would never do it. So it's okay with me that there's lots of imperfections in this mixed media. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was fun to do. And I've realized that I do better with stencils and texture paste than just me adding ink directly to the paper. I don't know why, but I tend to be happier with my results when I use a stencil, and either just some inking through the stencil or using some texture paste through the stencil. So now I have the three colors I want to use, and now I will go directly to white. I will overlap that with the yellow just a little bit, clearing off some space. Maybe I need a bigger craft mat. And I, again, overlap these just a bit to bring the yellow down into the white. But by the time it's at the bottom, it's almost completely white. You still see it because of the texture and the tiny cast of yellow that is on it. I tried to get a good picture of the texture paste and the texture that it added for one of the still shots at the end. So hopefully you'll be able to see a little better how that turned out. So I'm going to clean up. I love this part. Here's the best part. You peel it off. Isn't that pretty? And I thought about trying to do it all at once, but I couldn't. So I just did it again there. And you can see that there's a tiny bit of a seam, but in the end, it doesn't really show up. So I'm using this patterned paper from Simple Stories. I have a 6x8 paper pad, the chipboard stickers, some brads, and enamel dots. And this one, I'm sorry, I'm pulling it out of the packaging that I have it in. It is called Into the Wild. And this is another one of those layouts where I take a 6x8 paper pad and a couple of the embellishment things that are available and use my own 12x12 cardstock to have a collection, as it were, without buying an entire collection. First of all, it saves me money, which is a good thing, but it also saves me space. It saves me trying to use up an entire collection once I'm tired of it, because sometimes I do get tired of using the same one. And if I keep it for later, sometimes I forget about it. It takes up storage space in my room. So I've been doing this with a few things lately, and I'm liking how it's working. So here's one of the cut apart pads in that, or sheets in that 6x8 paper pad. And at first I think I'm going to use the blue rectangle that I'm cutting out right now. But I end up trimming it out so it's not a rectangle anymore. I just use my scissors and cut around the shapes and kind of treat it like a die cut. I never used to do that, but I've been doing that more and more lately. I have this little bit of the yellow stripe, and I really like it, and I feel like at first I think I'm going to use it kind of as a scallop border between the patterned paper and the chevron that I created. I end up doing something a little different because I realized that in the sketch, or in the layout that I'm scraplifting, Moira had a little bit in the top right and a little bit of a cluster in the bottom left. So this will end up being the base for those two clusters, which you'll see toward the end of the video. I'm just using an old Fisker's scallop punch to scallop the edges, and then I cut that in half. And then later I cut it down further. And here's where I decided I needed a black border around the entire thing, because I like how that mimicked the black mats around my photos. Two of those are photos I took. One of them I snatched from the zoo's website because I didn't have or couldn't find in my phone, if I did take it, the kind of photo I wanted. Like a long shot with some different animals in it, and whatever. If I took one, I can't find it, or it didn't turn out and I got rid of it. I'm not remembering right now. So I just took one from the zoo's website and I printed it at 3x4. So I set aside the yellow striped scallops for a little while, and I'm looking at this cut apart sheet, which I end up using some of as well. And in the layout I'm scraplifting, the title is below the photos, kind of nestled in where they meet at an angle. And so what I ended up doing was I trimmed out the bottom part where it says, "Let's go on an adventure." And I cut off the word adventure because that's already in the little map there. And so my title does say, "Let's go on an adventure," but it's two different fonts and they're layered up to create the title. You'll be able to see it better in a minute. Here's where I'm getting rid of the word adventure because I'm going to use the adventure that's on the map that's laying there. I also trimmed out the adventure that's on the wood grain and thought I might use that, but I decided I like this arrangement better. And I think about putting it over there, and then I remembered, no, in her sketch, Moira had her title tucked in here, and this one tucks in there pretty nicely because of the angles on the map. So that's what I ended up doing. Now I'm using some of the chipboard pieces. I really like that monkey right there, and I wish I had left him there, but I ended up putting him at the top. And once he was glued down with liquid glue, it was too much liquid glue to try to hide behind anything else. So I just left him where I glued him at the top, and it's okay. I debate for a little while where to put this tiger, but I end up putting him down there near the map because I feel like it brings down some of that color that's in the patterned paper toward the top where you can see a lion and another cat and a couple of flowers. This little banner says "Life's a Zoo," and I thought of putting it at the top and building a cluster there, but I ended up bringing it down by the photo of the zoo. And somehow I peeled the adhesive off, so I just stuck the cardboard down. I add this tiger here. It looks like he's looking at the map. And this was the zoo in Montgomery, Alabama. Now I'm putting the monkey down, and you'll see that I debate, and I end up plopping him up there. It does show up better in real life, even though on camera it's hard to kind of discern where the monkey is because of all the patterns going on. In real life, because of the dimension on that die cut or chipboard piece, he shows up just fine. Now I'm putting on some of these faux brads. I add a yellow one and a blue one there. And this is where I realized I wanted to create those two clusters that were to be like the ones in the piece I'm scraplifting. So I cut down the yellow stripe, and I do that for the top right, bottom left. And now I'm thinking, what else am I going to put on there? Because I don't really have a lot of stickers left that would work. First I put this little camera there, and then I switch it out for a bigger one. That little one that is paler in color was kind of getting lost. This one is bigger and has a bolder color to it. So I did that, and I'm ignoring the clusters or the little banner pieces at the top and bottom. I don't even have the bottom one on yet, but I'm ignoring those because I don't know what to do with them. So I'm going around and adding the faux brads, another one, maybe another two. And here's where I think, okay, I need one of these at the bottom. So I just trim it down. Oh, my husband stopped and was, he just got home, so he came down to my scrap room, and we were talking about the picture and how much those two look alike. The younger one is definitely her mom's mini-me. Although there's not much height difference between them at this point. So I think about putting this brad down there, but I end up taking it away and putting, I don't think it even goes on this layout. I think I save it for another one. Because I decided I want some of the florals that are in the patterned paper. There's not a lot of them showing, but there are florals there. And so I wanted to pull those out, especially because Ava has a pink shirt on. So I wanted to add some of the pinks. I had one pink flower cluster in the chipboard stickers, so I put that at the bottom. And I had, rather than cutting into a full 6x8 to trim out some more flowers, I used this 3x4 card and cut out some. Here are the still shots. Thank you for watching, and I will have links below for Moira's site. And it's been a great 31 days of sketches. Or no, of May I Scraplift You. Bye.